안녕하세요. 매일매일 운동하기를 실천하고 있는 동탄 왕코입니다. 아, 오늘은 12월 12일 토요일이에요. 즐거운 토요일이죠. 이제 오늘 출근해야 돼요. 내일 하루 쉽니다. 지금 코로나가 엄청 심하죠. 950명, 방금 기사 봤을 때 950명 나왔습니다. 다들 집에 계시죠? 저만 지금 집에 이렇게 있는 거 아니죠? 모르겠네. 카메라에 제 모습이 다 나오려고 약간 구부정하게 있습니다. 아, 운동해야지. 계속 아침에 운동하는데 너무 배고픈 거예요. 아침에 그 선식 하나만 먹거든요, 딱. 그거 하나 먹고 운동을 하니까 너무 배가 고파가지고 메가리가 없어서 오늘은 볶음밥이랑 선식 두 개 다 먹었어요. 그다음에 운동 끝나면은 또 그 단백질 선식 하나 있거든요. 그거 먹을 겁니다. 배가 안 고프게 살게요. 배 고픈 게 너무 싫어요. 그래서 일단 오늘도 날씨는 너무 좋고 그러네요. 운동하기 딱 좋은 날씨네. 운동하겠습니다. 운동을 해야 진짜 영어 공부는 못하겠어. 이 집에서 혼자 공부를 절대 못하겠어. 제가 항상 얘기하잖아요. 공부하라고. 하지만 저도 못합니다. 공부 아무나 하는 게 아니에요. 그래도 운동은 곧잘 하니까 일단은 코로나 끝나기 전까지 운동 열심히 하겠습니다. 영어 학원 가기 전까지. 오늘도 운동을 할 땐 역시 CNA죠. 쿠오모 형님과 함께 아침을 시작해 봅시다.
To the FDA commissioner on this day as they're getting so close to this authorization, but they're basically saying that they don't actually think that Dr. Hahn is going to be fired over this. Though we should note this phone call came after several meetings where the chief of staff called Dr. Hahn into his office here at the White House because that is the direct result of the president venting about the fact that these authorizations have not happened yet.
The process for the Pfizer vaccine is basically at the finish line.
팔굽혀펴기랑 복근 운동할게요.
What does the White House get from doing this at this point?
That's the question. And I've even heard that from several White House officials now that this story has come out. And I just ran into the HHS secretary on my way to the camera for this live shot, and we were talking about the authorization. And of course, the thinking is it could come at any minute now. That's how the White House is viewing this, that authorization could come down as soon as tonight, possibly tomorrow, by Sunday, officials believe. So what is the logic in threatening to fire the FDA commissioner when we're in the middle of a pandemic and you've got 6 weeks left in Donald Trump's presidency? And that's a question that a lot of people are still raising here at the White House. And so that's why they don't actually think that Dr. Hahn will be fired. However, if this was a few months ago, a few weeks ago, this is certainly something that could happen because that's the level of frustration that you're seeing from the president over this vaccine effort is because he's seeing other countries roll it out. He wants to be able to roll it out as well, Anderson.
Yeah, Kayla Collins, thanks. Joining me now, CNN's chief medical correspondent, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, and how to dissect this busy day. So, Sanjay, you've spoken with FDA Commissioner Stephen Hahn many times since the start of the pandemic. Would he let political pressure get to him when it comes to the vaccine? And can you explain the discussions that are going on right now between the FDA and Pfizer?
Yeah, well, the first part of the question, if you'd asked me that a couple of months ago, I would say, yeah, look, I mean, I think there was times when it was pretty clear that Stephen Hahn, the FDA commissioner, was bowing to political pressure, hydroxychloroquine, exaggerating data around convalescent plasma, things like that. But I think most recently, he's not had evidence of bowing to pressure. In fact, maybe oversteering the other way, as we're sort of seeing play out now. This may have already been authorized tonight, but then this back and forth may have actually ironically slowed things down. I talked to him about this issue a couple days ago, just the overall amount of pressure that he was feeling. Here's what he said.
People might say, hey, it's an emergency. Why would you worry about the process? Why would you worry about the scientific review that you're doing? And it's my job, it's our job to explain that. And that's what happened. So it was nothing more than that.
He talks a lot about the fact that he recognizes there's a lot of vaccine hesitancy out there. So I think he's balancing the messaging around that with watching this whole regulatory process play out. As far as the discussions quickly between the FDA and Pfizer right now, a lot of this seems to have to do with the labels that are going to be put on these vaccines. What are they going to say about 16 and 17-year-olds? It's authorized, but there's not enough data. What's it going to say about pregnant women? Something like you should talk to your doctor about this. We've heard a lot about these allergies. Would people who have had a previous history of severe allergies be recommended not to take it? That's, I think, what these final discussions are about right now.
It was interesting. The president today called the FDA a, quote, big old slow turtle. Sounds familiar. This has actually been a very fast process. I mean, do you believe there's any reason why Americans should not feel confident that this is a safe and effective vaccine?
No, I don't think there's any reason they shouldn't feel confident. It is a fast-moving process, the development of that, and it is truly remarkable. Some of the science upon which this vaccine was based has actually been, some of this has been studied for quite some time, but this regulatory process, showing the efficacy through these phase 3 clinical trials, and then waiting for 2 months of safety data as well, something that Stephen Hahn was pressured to not wait for by President Trump. He did wait for it. That's another example of him not bowing to the pressure. I think is all very important. I think these final steps in terms of saying, hey, look, we don't want people who have severe allergic reactions to get in trouble. So either we recommend you don't take it, or you're prepared to maybe pre-treat with Benadryl, or just have your EpiPen, whatever it might be. These last warning labels are important, but I don't think there's any reason to believe it's not a safe and effective vaccine.
And once the FDA
authorizes
the Pfizer vaccine, what's the next step?
So this is happening real time. I mean, as
오늘 열심히 하고 싶은데 여기 아파요.
authorization could come at any time now. There's a few other meetings. So once the FDA authorizes this, the vaccine is on the move, leaving
팔굽혀펴기 조지겠습니다. 오늘 보세요. 오늘 팔굽혀펴기 조지겠습니다.
CDC has an advisory
오늘
committee
조직
as well, which
팔굽혀펴기
authorizes something, the CDC then recommends it
조져야지.
and for these various groups of
야,
people.
씨.
And after that, Anderson, I mean, Monday, Tuesday, we could probably see people getting immunized in this country for the first time outside of a trial, which is, it is really remarkable.
It is.
I just have to say that again. I mean, that it's the best of times and the worst of times at the same time, right? The best of times with scientific progress, worst of times with the number of people who are still becoming infected. But this is a good moment for overall science.
Yeah, I mean, when you think people with HIV have been waiting for vaccine for decades, and I mean, it's extraordinary how quickly this happened. Sanjay, thanks very much. Appreciate it. Again, a number of hospitalizations today. Also, so far, more than 2,500 deaths reported just today, and of course, there are still several hours left. It is a tough week for so many families. There is so much loss, and tonight, sadly, it now includes someone we met here on the program. Keith Sugden died Tuesday in South Dakota. He'd been in the ICU at Monument Health Rapid City Hospital when our Gary Tuckman met him a few days before Thanksgiving. The Walmart greeter for more than 20 years was hoping to go back to the job that he loved. Never got that chance. Here's what he told Gary last month.
It's been a great life, and these tears in my eyes are happy tears. They're not sad tears. And to know that how many people really care.
So many people cared. He was a greeter at Walmart for 20 years. Keith was a widower. He had nearly 40 children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and great-great-grandchildren. How incredible is that? He was 88 years old, and our hearts go out to his family and every family impacted by this pandemic. Now, more than ever, the world needs heroes. Join me and my good friend Kelly Ripa for the 14th annual CNN Heroes, an all-star tribute. It's this Sunday night, 8 p.m. Angela Bassett, Orlando Bloom, Gal Gadot will be among the celebrity presenters. Again, that's at 8 p.m. on Sunday. That's it for us. News continues. Let's hand it over to Chris for Cuomo Primetime. Chris?
Big night, Coop. Have a good weekend. I am Chris Cuomo. Welcome to Primetime. Congratulations, America. You won. The Supreme Court told the Retrumplicans, 19 rogue AGs, 126 House former GOP members, and Trump himself, what they all already knew. You have no case because you have no proof. You have no right, and you will get no relief. The entire court agreed. Let me read. The state of Texas's motion for leave to file a bill of complaint is denied. For lack of standing under Article 3 of the Constitution, Texas has not demonstrated a judicially cognizable interest in the manner in which another state conducts its elections. All other pending motions are dismissed as moot. What does that mean? You have no right to sue because you have no business saying you don't like how another state ran its election, and because there has been no damage to you, because you don't show any proof of anything wrong. Which, by the way, is a decision that is a clear affirmation of federalism, states' rights, which used to be a conservative tenet. You see, that's where you see the death of the Republican Party into this zombie form of Retrumplican. They have forgotten who they are because of their fealty to one man. Now, they don't even need to hear anymore, the justices. It doesn't get any worse than this. You're not even going to get a hearing. You don't deserve one. However, this is a big win if you love this country and democracy. In that way, it doesn't get any better than this. That's what won. The we over the me of Trump. Now, the Retrumplicans and those desperate to disown democracy will say, wait a minute, two dissented. That is not true. Again, we read the statement of Justice Alito, with whom Justice Thomas joins. In my view, we don't have discretion to deny the filing of a bill of complaint in a case that falls within our original jurisdiction. They then cite a case. I would therefore grant the motion to file the bill of complaint, but would not grant other relief, and I express no view on any other issue. What does that mean? Their note is not about the merits of the case, okay? Alito and Thomas, this is a little in the weeds, but it matters because you're going to be hearing this, and you should be armed with the information to rebut it. Alito and Thomas have a long-standing dispute back to this, case that they cite, Arizona v. California and before. They have a different feeling about the Supreme Court's role in taking cases of interstate controversies, okay? That's about jurisdiction, not about the merits. The key part is the end of this discussion. But we would not grant other relief and no view on any other issue, meaning they too see no wrong to remedy, period. It's over. The statement from President-elect Biden's team, this is no surprise. Dozens of judges, election officials from both parties, and Trump's own attorney general have dismissed his baseless attempts to deny that he lost the election. President-elect Biden's clear and commanding victory will be ratified by the Electoral College on Monday, and he will be sworn in on January 20th. We'll get to that. But first, where we are. Trump was right. This was the big one. It was his big effort with all his cronies to steal the election. Now, why was he so confident? He was confident not because of the merits, but because Donald Trump has always believed everyone is like him. Transactional. No principles. No integrity. There's nothing to life but your own ambition. That's why he met with Comey and asked for loyalty. That's why he tried to make a deal on Flynn. That's why he was okay letting Russia help him. That's why he's okay now with having low character people around him. And that's why he thought judges that he picked would side with him. He even told you that, remember? I need Justice Amy Coney Barrett for the election. We need them. See, he knew he might lose. And he was thinking of ways to steal, because that's what he does. But even his three judges proved him wrong, not once, but twice. And in that, what we must conclude is what I hope is obvious. America is better than Trump, and we deserve better than how he and the Retrumplicans have been trying to crush this country for weeks in the middle of a pandemic that they are not acting on. And you must remember this day and the way that it happened. These are the names that must live in infamy. 126 of 196 members of the House who are Republicans. No longer of good name, though. No longer Republican, Retrumplican. Because they chose the power of principle, The worst play, right? Power over principle. Ambition over America. The worst we've seen since the Red Scare. And remember, they knew what they were doing. None came forward with proof. They were all in on a con. Among them, it's not some bunch of nobodies. Top House re-Trumplican Kevin McCarthy, now living up to his name. Another McCarthy, just like Senator Joe of the Red Scare scandal. The House Minority Leader, now on board with undoing an election because he didn't like the outcome. A man who railed in 2016 that you can't challenge the vote without overwhelming proof. The man who said this to you about the transition.
There will be a very peaceful transition. It will be a smooth transition. It'll be a smooth transition regardless of the outcome. No questions, no qualms, no concerns. It's going to be peaceful. This nation is designed that way. This nation will have it that way. And that's exactly what will take place. There's going to be a smooth transition just as it is every time before. So let me put it all to rest for all of you. It'll be a smooth
또
transition.
이어서 하겠습니다.
No concern on the outcome. I know this will keep you up at night, but
한국표기랑
don't worry about it. It's going to be very
골목을
smooth.
해야죠.
Yeah, you're a liar. Of course we had to worry
You're
about
a
it
liar.
because you're a liar. You're just another Trump. You're just like the last McCarthy. Sir, you have no decency. Here at last, have you no decency? And the answer is no. Because you chose to attack this race on the basis of nothing but a desire to keep us divided. Shame on you. Shame on all of you. In the middle of a pandemic, when we needed you most, you were at your worst. Now, some of you will say, well, hold on. Suing, I mean, that's not that bad. That's how we deal with, no. That's not how you do it. You don't go to sue with no proof. You don't sue in search of a case. You bring a case and then you sue. And by the way, this isn't over. Monday, the electors meet. McCarthy said, why would I accept their vote? The guy has no basis of proof for any notion of fraud, but he won't accept it? Let me ask you, how is that keeping his oath? How is that not a basis to throw his ass out? Think about it. He took an oath to uphold the Constitution. The Constitution lays out how we do the election. We do the election the way the Constitution lays out, and he says he won't accept it? How is that keeping his oath? Will the Retrumplicans try to pull something there? How about when Congress meets on January 6th to certify that vote? You already heard Senator Ron Johnson said he may not accept it. These people cannot be trusted. Anybody who would during a pandemic to help sabotage a transition just for Trump? Think of it this way. A party that would hold up aid in the Senate because why? Because they need to protect companies from what? Frivolous lawsuits, right? So you want to protect from frivolous lawsuits at the same time that you engage in the most frivolous lawsuit of all time? You cannot trust Retrumplicans because they are just like Trump. We know that now. But here's what we don't know. What can you trust? This is a dark time. People would rather get sick than wear a mask. People only believe what they agree with. Will this be a watershed moment? Will the Supreme Court show that there is still a line between right and wrong in government? That there is truth? That everything isn't fake if you feel that way? What does tonight mean? And what happens next? We have better minds, Anna Navarro and Michael Smirkanish. So, Smirk, what did you think of the decision and how it was articulated by the court?
I don't like it at all. I think the president got off easy. The answer to your question is a definitive no. Last night I said to you that the best the president could hope for was an outcome without a decision. And he got that. I mean, that very terse paragraph that you wrote doesn't lay down the law. And consequently, the recollection of this case is going to be that Texas, aided by 18 other attorneys general, 2/3 of Republicans stood with the president. And I think it's going to foster this perception in some quarters that there was a fix. What I'm really saying, Chris, is he should have been spanked by the court, and he wasn't.
Anna?
Well, I disagree. And part of why I disagree is because it was a unanimous decision by the 9 Supreme Court justices, including the ones that have recently been appointed by Donald Trump. This is right now a conservative, a Republican, a conservative Supreme Court. Nobody can allege that there's, a bunch of liberals running amok in the Supreme Court who came down against Donald Trump. But I also see it as our checks and balances in this country working. So the executive might be run by a madman right now. There might be 126 servile minions, congresspeople, Republican congresspeople backing him up, and 18 attorney generals. But the checks and balances, the judicial, the Supreme Court, despite being overwhelmingly conservative right now, stood firm and defended the Constitution and did what we all knew was going to happen. Swat away a meritless complaint and suit. I mean, it's just, it was so obvious. I think any high schooler could have told you the state of Texas has no standing in telling the states of Wisconsin, Michigan, Georgia, and Pennsylvania what they should do with their voters. That's just ridiculous.
Well, look, let me put something up on the screen. I was going to say, hey, where are all the other Republicans now who didn't sign on saying, enough now? You're making us all look bad. Let's do what we're supposed to do. But we're not hearing that. And not only we're not hearing that, we're hearing this. Put up what we just saw from the the head of the Texas Republican Party. Perhaps law-abiding states should bond together and form a union of states that will abide by the Constitution. Michael.
Ballots, not briefs, determine the outcome of elections. Those were the words of the
여기까지
Third
하겠습니다.
Circuit. They looked at the Pennsylvania challenge a couple of weeks ago. They issued a
못하겠어.
21-page opinion. I'm saying I wish
손
that the
떨리는 거
Supreme
봐요.
Court had
손
taken
떨려,
the
손 떨려,
opportunity.
지금.
And I get it. Monday is the meeting of the Electoral College, as you pointed out, so time is of the essence. But how much stronger of a message it would have sent if those 6 conservative members of the court had weighed in, offered an opinion, and picked apart the way legal pundits have uniformly done the case that was being asserted by Texas. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe.